What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle, and the House leadership in the Senate, they want to move on. They're ready to push on like business as usual after this disastrous midterms. You know, imagine that you're in charge of a project and the project went awful, but you're gonna try and so you blame somebody who had nothing to do with it, Dada, and then you're a leader on the project and you just want to move on like nothing ever happened. They just want to push on. What I'm talking about is the vote for leadership in the Senate, particularly. Kevin McCarthy wants to do it too, but let's talk about Mitch. We don't even know who's going to be in the Senate for sure yet. Like everyone, obviously you've got the Georgia runoff. I don't even know if Nevada's done. They called the race in Arizona for Kelly. I'm not sure that that's going to stand. We'll see. But we don't even know who has the majority yet. We don't know who's going to be there yet. But they want to move on. Like, okay, let's do this vote. They want to go ahead and do this vote real quick. Let's get this stuff through so we could go ahead and Mitch will still be our leader and we'll all vote again for Mitch, right? It'll all be the same status quo. And many of the senators are like, hold up,
wait a minute.
something don't smell right.
Something ain't right.
Hold your horses, my nickel. We're not voting just yet.
What did you say, nigga?
You want to speed through this real quick like nothing was wrong, like it's the status quo. There's this little thing we haven't hashed out yet, and that's you not supporting GOP candidates like Blake Masters, who would have won easily if you spent money in his state. We haven't hashed that out yet. Let's talk about it. Because I know you're in the media blaming Don Dada for it. But we know what's up. Just go to the media and say that. But there's two people who know that's a lie. The people who are our constituents know that's a lie. And we know that's a lie. So let's talk about this a little bit before we move on with leadership. We might need a change in leadership. Let's do it. Via the post-millennial, they say a number of Senate Republicans are calling for the leadership process to be delayed after a lackluster midterms. Senator Ron Johnson, who I've given credit to and criticized, of Wisconsin, Mike Lee, who's done some good things, and Rick Scott. I've never been a Rick Scott fan, but nobody's perfect. He's for money to the sunflower country, but he'd be better than Mitch. They've circulated a letter calling on their colleagues to sign onto postponement of the process, which was slated for Wednesday. I didn't know they chose this so quickly. In the House, they don't do it until the new House comes in. The Senate is a different animal, though. Here's a quote from the letter. We are all disappointed that a red wave failed to materialize, and there are multiple reasons it did not. We need to have serious discussions within our conference as to why and what we can do to improve our chances in 2024. Holding leadership elections without hearing from the candidates as to how they will perform their leadership duties, and before we know whether we will be in the majority or even who all our members are, violating the most basic principles of the democratic process. That's the democracy that you love to save, isn't it? The letter reads, it is certainly not the way leadership process should be conducted in the world's greatest deliberative body. They look at the Senate as it is one of the world's most powerful legislative bodies, and they hold themselves to this dignitary status. Marco Rubio of Florida said that the party should be delayed while the party makes sure that those who want to lead us are genuinely committed to fighting for priorities and values of the working Americans of every background who gave us big wins. Senator Josh Hawley, who I like a lot, of Missouri, also called on the delay. So you've got people as milquetoast as Rubio, you've got people as based as Hawley, you've got Johnson, you've got, Rand Paul's down for this. He's the one that should be chosen, in my opinion. You got a bunch of people down for this. This is a problem. Now, I don't like that it's just a delay. That's weak. That's weak sauce. You should be coming out and saying, no, it's not Mitch. Let's talk about who it should be. But Mitch is a powerful one. He's like a male Nancy Pelosi. Those are problems that everyone doesn't want to have. So even though they're doing this delay, as of right now, don't get it twisted. This delay means that they're still with Mitch. Because they're not, some of them have come out and said, I want somebody different, but most of them haven't. They just want a delay. That's how they play these political games. So if Mitch still gets it, they say, well, we asked for a delay. So let's see. Let's see where we're heading with this. I'm very interested. I'm going to give you my takeaway. Stay for that. And obviously, not surprisingly, it's going to go on this DeSantis v. Trump stuff. House. Now, this is very Interesting. House Representative Matt Gaetz echoed those calls, writing on Twitter, "We should not hold leadership elections in the House or Senate until we know exactly who will constitute the Republican conferences in each chamber." If you follow politics, you know one thing. If there's one thing that people don't like in the Senate, is when people in the House try to tell them how to do their business. That is like that's like the star football. People in the Senate all view them as the most egotistical, self-aspirational sleazebags on the face of the planet. They would run a bus over their own, figuratively, mother if it meant they could become president. They are the most disgusting human beings on the face of the planet. And they all feel like they're the star of the varsity high school football team, the quarterback. It's a body of 100 people that all feel like they're the star quarterback. And Matt Gaetz in the House telling them what to do is like a bench player on the JV to them. That's how they view this. A bench player on the JV telling the star quarterback how to run the plays, telling the star quarterback that they're doing something wrong, telling the star quarterback on the varsity team that maybe you shouldn't run the play like this. Oh, that's craziness. I'm here for it. Go get it, Matt. This is a new era. Never do we see stuff like this. Matt, that's why I'm for these MAGA Republicans. That's why I'm for Trump. He's the mascot for this. We don't know if DeSantis will be like this. No, let's get to it right now. Let's get to this civil war. This is the lens that all of this is happening in. So the reason why they're holding off is like there's a civil war, figuratively, going on in the GOP party within that political issue going on, and they're like, hold up, because either DeSantis or Trump might be against McConnell. So we don't want to be on the side that says we voted him in. Then all of a sudden there's this big push, because what happens if Don Dada gets the primary? That's where I put my money on. He's already spoken out against Mitch. So here's Matt Walsh. I like Daily Wire. I even have a tweet talking about how great the minds are on Daily Wire, but we aren't on the same team. Part of this political civil war in the GOP side is going to be little nobodies like me taking pot shots at Matt Walsh. That's what it's going to be. Let's do it. Matt Walsh says Trump supporters are trying to label DeSantis establishment, but the problem they'll run into is Trump endorsed every establishment figure, and 2, Trump hired the establishment and put them in his White House, and 3, Trump never drained the swamp or even tried to. That's a lot. Number 3 is an absolute lie. I've done a whole show on Schedule F where Trump actually did try to do it. It took a little bit of time. It's not an easy process to do. So we know number 3 is a complete lie. And then let's look at number 1. Absolutely, I've had problems with who Trump's endorsed. And number 2, he's hired the establishment. Absolutely, I have problems with that. But let's look at this. DeSantis has stayed in Florida. The only establishment figure that I'm aware of that he's attacked is Joe Biden, which is easy sauce. And then Fauci, the Fauci, he attacked him, easy sauce, and he attacked him in a way to get at Trump, of course. Before I go to my reply of Matt, let's look at where Matt is. Matt is an anti-Trumper, a never was Trump guy. He's anti-MAGA. That's on record, basically. Here's this video from Matt before he had the beard. He looks different, sounds the same, but here he is with his anti-Trump sentiments.
What would Trump have to do to earn your vote?
Step down, go. I mean, if he wants to run to be the new host of The Apprentice again or something like that, then I say great. I would vote for that. If he wants to, have a sports show on ESPN with Bobby Knight and Mike Tyson, I would vote for that. I would fully endorse that. So that's what he can do. But as long as he's running for president, there's absolutely nothing he could do because he's still going to be Donald Trump.
You could say maybe he's in a different place now, because I was in a different place back then as well. But I did a little search on Twitter to find out, has Matt ever even mentioned Kari Lake's name? DeSantis' name is coming out of his mouth. Kari Lake is the most important new elected figure of MAGA, probably ever since Marjorie Taylor Greene, but of this midterm, of course. Has he ever, said her name on Twitter? You've got DeSantis coming out of your mouth on a regular basis. I did a search and I couldn't find anything. What's your excuse for Kari Lake? I know your excuse for Trump. What's your excuse for not talking about Kari Lake? Oh, it's not about that, Matt. It's not about what you said it was about, because all those things you talked about with the establishment and all that, they don't apply to Kari Lake, and her name has never come out of your mouth on Twitter. But DeSantis comes out of your mouth on a regular basis. Let's expose where you are. Let's be honest about where you are, and let's have that battle. Let's look at where Trump is now. Trump mounts anti-McConnell campaign as conservatives seek delay in leadership elections. And DeSantis, most recent stuff we have with DeSantis and McCain, video, Mitch McConnell gives Ron DeSantis a standing applause. Mitch McConnell's in the audience like, he's clapping for Ron DeSantis. So maybe Ron DeSantis has a different take now, but you are entering the national stage now, bro. You're not in Florida anymore. So he hasn't officially announced, but his silence says everything. His silence is worse. If he's not going to run, I know he's already said I'm not running, but now Trump is taking pot shots and he's silent. If he's not running, his silence is even worse. So that's what we're going to need to see. Because the path for Ron DeSantis to rise up is through Mitch McConnell. So we'll see. Is he going to be able to run? He might go to Mitch and say, Mitch, I got to throw you under the bus. You still got me? He might have to do stuff like that, but we'll see. Will he's going to step out of Florida? My take on Ron DeSantis, he's done a great job in Florida. And now my new take is stay your ass in Florida, because I don't like what I'm seeing on the national level. You're going to see some interesting stuff. I'm going to get some popcorn. Join me, middlemaga.com. Thank you. Subscribe to the channel, notifications, everything. We're going to need to get popcorn because let's have fun with this. It's going to be great. Take care.